What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Who misses me? Let me know in the comments. We've all had those days where our brains just decide to take a 5-minute coffee break. You know, like using your phone's flashlight to look for your phone or trying to unlock your front door with your car keys. That is totally normal. But today, we are talking about a completely different level of brain freeze. We are looking at individuals who experienced a glitch so monumental, they permanently uninstalled themselves from the server of life. From turning a glowing hot masonry brick into the world's most dangerous teddy bear, to trying to aggressively high-five a spinning industrial fan. These folks prove that common sense isn't exactly common. Before we dive into these absolute facepalm moments, do me a massive favor and hit that subscribe button. We're building an awesome community here. And every single subscriber helps the channel grow so we can keep bringing you these unbelievable stories. Have you subscribed yet? All right, grab a snack, sit back, and let's look at 13 times people completely forgot how the universe works. Number 1. Listen, I get it. We all have that one friend who loves vintage aesthetics. They buy typewriters, they wear suspenders, and they love bragging about how they just don't make things like they used to. Well, in 2205, one guy took his love for retro gear way too far. He found a beautiful mint-condition metal thermos from the 1950s at a flea market. He decided this was going to be his everyday coffee vessel. For years, he proudly poured his hot, acidic coffee into this mid-century masterpiece. Here's the problem with the good old days. Back then, manufacturers basically used the periodic table of elements as a flavor enhancer. This specific thermos had an inner lining that was heavily corroded, and every single morning, the hot coffee was brewing a fresh batch of heavy metal soup. We are talking lead, cadmium, and who knows what else slowly leaching into his morning roast. He probably thought that extra metallic tang was just a bold flavor profile. But biology doesn't care about your hipster aesthetic. Over the decades, the heavy metals built up in his system until his internal organs finally just threw their hands up and quit. He literally poisoned himself in slow motion because he wanted his coffee cup to match his antique record player. Sometimes, buying a boring, modern, BPA-free plastic cup is actually the smartest survival strategy you can have. Number 2. Now, let's talk about a guy who clearly skipped high school physics to watch Looney Tunes cartoons. We have a budding master thief in Georgia who breaks into a second-story office. His prize? A massive, industrial-grade metal safe. He manages to shimmy this incredibly heavy metal box over to the window. But now he faces a logistical nightmare. How do you get a 500-pound safe down to the ground without making a massive crash that wakes up the whole neighborhood? His solution is a masterclass in terrible ideas. He finds a long, sturdy rope. He ties one end securely around the heavy safe, and then he takes the other end and ties it around his own waist. His logic? I'll just act as a human counterweight and gently lower it down the side of the building. My friend, gravity does not negotiate. The moment he pushed that heavy safe out the window, physics took the wheel. The safe went down. And because he weighed significantly less than a block of solid steel, he went up. He was violently yanked out of a second-story window, taking a high-speed, non-consensual flying lesson before hitting the pavement and permanently canceling his subscription to life. If Wile E. Coyote wouldn't try it, you definitely shouldn't either. Number 3. We have all experienced road rage. Someone cuts you off, you yell a little at your windshield, maybe gesture aggressively, and then you move on with your day. But a woman in Pennsylvania decided that yelling wasn't enough. She was so unbelievably angry at another driver on a busy high-speed highway that she actually forced them to pull over. But she didn't get out with a baseball bat. Oh no. She got out of her car, climbed onto the hood of the other person's vehicle, dropped her pants, and decided to leave a biological review, a literal number 2, right there on the metal. Let's just pause and appreciate the sheer, unhinged audacity of that decision. However, she decided to pull this stunt in the middle of an active high-traffic turnpike, While the two drivers were engaged in a screaming, messy physical altercation over this hood ornament, the rest of the highway was still moving at 70 miles per hour. The distraction and the stopped cars caused a massive, chaotic, multi-car pileup. In the ensuing chaos of flying metal and screeching tires, she was struck and instantly got her final exit ticket. Imagine your absolute final act on this earth being a squatter's rights claim on a Honda Civic. It's tragic, it's bizarre, and it is a stark reminder to just take a deep breath and keep driving. Number 4. Picture the ultimate suburban dad. It's Saturday morning, the sun is shining, and the grass is getting a little too long. It must be mowed. Nothing stands in the way of lawn care. This particular dad in Ohio fires up his mower and starts doing his laps. Suddenly, he runs over a massive underground nest of yellow jackets. Now, yellow jackets are not like regular bees. They are fueled by pure spite and anger, and they swarm out, furious. Most people would abandon the mower and sprint for the house. But this guy, he had an ego. He was not about to let a bunch of bugs tell him when he could and couldn't cut his grass. He swatted them away and kept mowing. They stung him. He kept mowing. They swarmed thicker. He stubbornly pushed through. Here is the kicker. He knew he was highly allergic to wasp stings. He had an EpiPen inside the house, but his stubbornness completely overrode his survival instinct. He refused to retreat until he had finished the yard. By the time he finally let go of the mower handle, his body was already going into extreme anaphylactic shock. His airway closed up, and nature hit his permanent off switch right there on the freshly cut lawn. He won the battle for the perfect yard, but he lost the war of evolution. Number 5. Okay, we've covered some incredibly bad decisions today. But this one is just the universe playing a cruel trick shot. A 29-year-old guy is on his honeymoon in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. It's a gorgeous day. He's standing in ankle-deep water, the sun is shining, and there is a crystal-clear, bright blue sky directly overhead. Not a dark cloud in sight. He is literally having the best week of his life. But Florida weather is built different. Somewhere, miles and miles away, out of sight over the horizon, a thunderstorm was brewing. In a freak meteorological phenomenon known as a bolt from the blue, a massive lightning strike traveled horizontally through the upper atmosphere for several miles before abruptly striking straight down. Out of a perfectly clear, sunny sky, this guy got permanently unplugged by 1,000,000 volts of electricity. He didn't do anything wrong. He wasn't holding a golf club in a storm. He wasn't flying a kite with a key on it. He was just standing there and the sky said, "Tag, you're it." It's a terrifying reminder that while bad choices can definitely take you out, sometimes the universe just decides your free trial has expired, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Number 6. Next, a story that proves sometimes your luck is just spectacularly, astronomically terrible. Modern medicine is amazing. If a piece of your hardware fails, doctors can literally swap it out with a gently used part from someone else. In Michigan, a guy received the ultimate gift, a fresh organ transplant. He's thinking he just got an extended warranty on life. But here is the massive plot twist. The donor who provided the organ had been acting a little strange before they checked out. Like stumbling around like a drunk raccoon in the daylight. Strange. For some reason, this massive red flag was overlooked during the medical screening. It turns out that donor had the rabies virus. So, our guy wakes up from a successful surgery, completely unaware that along with his new organ, he just downloaded one of the most terrifying biological malware programs on the planet. By the time the doctors realized that his new firmware was glitching out and he was developing an extreme aversion to water, it was too late. He didn't make a bad choice. He just got handed the worst biological loot box in medical history, and his system permanently shut down. It's a tragic 1 in a million medical fail that proves you really need to check the Carfax on replacement parts. Number 7. Now, let's travel to the beautiful deserts of Arizona for a story where the person didn't permanently log off, but their bank account definitely flatlined. Picture this. It's a gorgeous, clear night. A woman is out in the desert, acting as a nature photographer, getting some beautiful long exposure shots of the starry sky. She's completely in the zone. Suddenly, a bat, whose biological sonar was apparently completely broken, smacks directly into the lens of her expensive camera. She gets startled. Naturally, she gasps and opens her mouth to scream. The bat, recovering from the camera collision, takes flight again and manages to score an absolute hole-in-one directly down her throat. I am not making this up. It flew right into the hangar. She managed to get the furry little aviator out, and thankfully, she survived the encounter. But remember that virus we just talked about? Yeah, bats are famous for carrying it. She had to rush to the hospital to get the premium antivirus DLC pack. Because this is the American healthcare system, those mandatory life-saving shots cost her a staggering $21,000. She walked away breathing, but that freak hole-in-one cost her the equivalent of a brand new Honda Civic. Number 8. Next up, we have a guy who thought life was an RPG video game where you could just grind your stats to level up your poison resistance. This gentleman considered himself a citizen scientist. His grand hypothesis was that if he just let venomous snakes bite him a little bit at a time, his body would build up a natural, impenetrable shield against the venom. Over the years, he intentionally allowed himself to be bitten over 200 times. 200! Here is the problem with playing fast and loose with Mother Nature's spicy noodles. Venom is not a vaccine. It is a highly complex cocktail of proteins designed to actively melt your tissues and short-circuit your nervous system. Your liver and kidneys do not get stronger when you constantly flood them with biological acid. They just get really, really tired. Eventually, on one fateful day, he took a bite that carried the final payload. His organs looked at the incoming venom, looked at his 200-bite punch card, and simply said, "We quit." His entire systemic network collapsed, and he was forcefully logged out of the server. He built up an immunity to common sense. But unfortunately, the snakes retained their undefeated title. Number 9. Let's move on to Maryland for a masterclass in terrible statistics. We all know the concept of Russian roulette. It is the absolute dumbest game ever invented. Normally, it involves one round in a 6-chamber cylinder, giving you a roughly 16% chance of an instant factory reset. But this guy wanted to win a bet. He wanted to prove how incredibly lucky he was. So he didn't put one round in the cylinder, he put 4 rounds into a 6-shooter. For those keeping track at home, that is a 66% chance that clicking that mechanical button will permanently clear your browser history. He puts it to his head and clicks. Empty chamber. He is feeling like a superhero. He clicks again. Another empty chamber. At this point, basic probability is screaming in the background. The math is mathematically mathing, but ego is a powerful thing. He goes for another try, completely ignoring the fact that he has exhausted all his good luck tokens. The final click functioned exactly as the manufacturer intended. The bet was over, the prize money was irrelevant, and his hardware suffered a catastrophic, unrepairable failure. You can't bluff statistics, folks. Number 10. Next, we have a story that serves as a brutal reminder that physics class was actually important. A thrill seeker decides he wants to go bungee jumping off a bridge. But commercial bungee jumping is expensive, so he decides to go the DIY route. He goes to a hardware store or a utility yard and secures a massive coil of lineman's cable. This is the heavy-duty, thick industrial wire used to hold up telephone poles. He ties one end to the bridge, harnesses himself to the other end, and takes a majestic leap into the void for a 40-foot drop. Here is the fundamental difference between a bungee cord and a lineman's cable. A bungee cord is made of elastic rubber designed to absorb kinetic energy and gently decelerate your mass. A lineman's cable is designed specifically to have absolutely zero stretch whatsoever. He enjoyed roughly 39.9 feet of absolute freedom, and then he hit the end of the cable. When you are falling at high speed and your momentum is instantly halted by an unyielding steel wire, your velocity goes from 60 to 0 in a single millimeter. The sheer kinetic shockwave of that sudden deceleration forcefully ejected his soul from his physical chassis. Gravity always wins the argument, especially when you forget to invite elasticity to the party. Number 11. Next, a story that proves the phrase cozy up by the fire should not be taken as literal, architectural advice for your mattress. We all know the feeling of a freezing winter night. You want to get into bed, but the sheets are like ice. Now, a normal person might grab a rubber hot water bottle, maybe a heated blanket, or just wear an extra pair of fuzzy socks. But our protagonist decided to go old school, like 18th century old school. He decided to use a brick. Yes, a standard, heavy piece of masonry. He placed this brick on his kitchen stove to warm it up. But he didn't just warm it. He left it on the burner until the brick was literally glowing cherry red. We are talking about temperatures rivaling a commercial pizza oven. Now, here is where the physics completely leave the chat. He takes this glowing, superheated block of clay, wraps it in a standard bathroom towel, and tosses it right under his heavy winter blankets before climbing in to go to sleep. Let's do some quick kitchen math. A red-hot brick is easily over 500 degrees Celsius, around 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The flash point of a cotton towel and polyester bedding is significantly lower than that. He basically built a slow-cooking charcoal grill directly inside his mattress. About 20 minutes after he closed his eyes, the extreme heat caused the towel and the blanket to aggressively smolder. Because it was buried under heavy blankets, it didn't burst into a massive, bright flame immediately. Instead, it created a heavily concentrated, oxygen-starved thermal event. This type of smoldering produces massive amounts of an invisible, odorless, and very sleepy gas: carbon monoxide. While he was dreaming of warm, sandy beaches, the gas filled the room. His biological system just went into sleep mode, and then it simply never booted back up. He hit the ultimate permanent snooze button because he brought a literal piece of a fireplace into his bed. Folks, please, just buy an electric blanket. Number 12. For our next story, we move from the bedroom to the garage for a masterclass in why impatience is an absolute evolutionary disadvantage. Picture this. The power is out. It's annoying. The Wi-Fi is down. And the fridge is getting warm. Our guy has a portable gas generator running in the yard, keeping the lights on. It's been running for hours, doing a great job. But he notices the fuel gauge is getting a little low. Now, the manufacturer's instructions and basic human survival instincts dictate that you should turn the machine off. Let the engine and the exhaust muffler cool down for at least 10 to 15 minutes, and then safely pour your gasoline. But our guy, he is in a rush. He doesn't want to lose power for 10 minutes. He wants to do a hot swap. He channels his inner Formula One pit crew and decides he is going to refuel this loud, vibrating, incredibly hot machine while it is still running at maximum RPMs. Here is the terrifying reality of small engines. The muffler on a running generator is essentially a frying pan set to maximum heat. It is easily hot enough to instantly vaporize and ignite any flammable liquid that touches it. He holds up a heavy, sloshing, multi-gallon plastic canister of gasoline and starts trying to pour it into a vibrating hole. Gravity and turbulence do their thing. Just one single drop of gasoline misses the tank and lands directly on that blistering hot muffler. That single drop instantly turns into a vapor cloud and flashes into an aggressive spark. That spark travels directly up the vapor trail, right back into the massive plastic canister he is holding in his hands. In a fraction of a millisecond, the container in his hands transformed into a handheld, localized sun. It was an extreme, uninvited thermal event of catastrophic proportions. He wanted to save 45 seconds of waiting for the engine to cool down. And instead, he initiated a rapid, unscheduled self-cremation sequence that permanently canceled his subscription to the physical realm. Patience is a virtue, but in this case, it was also a mandatory safety requirement. Number 13. Finally, we have a story that originated from the depths of Reddit, which serves as a brutal reminder that intrusive thoughts should remain thoughts. Have you ever looked at a massive piece of heavy machinery and thought, I wonder how strong that actually is? We've all been there. But most of us keep our hands in our pockets. Our final subject was looking at a massive, high RPM industrial ventilation fan. We are not talking about a plastic desk fan that gently oscillates while you type at your computer. We are talking about a giant, metal, warehouse-grade wind turbine. The kind of machine with steel blades that sound like a small airplane taking off. He decides he wants to run a little science experiment to see if the blades are actually as strong as they look. He grabs a thick wooden stick and shoves it directly through the safety grate into the spinning metal. Physics delivers its first warning. The massive kinetic energy of the spinning steel immediately rejects the wood. The fan aggressively kicks the stick right out of his hand, sending it flying across the room. The machine essentially said, "No thank you." This is the point where 99.9% of humanity would say, "Wow, that is really powerful. I should step back." But our guy had a deeply flawed hypothesis. He looked at the fan, looked at his now empty hand, and decided that the logical next step in the scientific method was to use his own biological appendage to test the torque. He bypassed the safety grate and stuck his actual hand directly into the spinning steel blades. The industrial metal blades, which were happily spinning at thousands of revolutions per minute, did not even slow down. The human skeletal structure is completely unequipped to win an argument with heavy machinery. The machine instantly gave him the most aggressive and non-consensual high five in human history. The damage was so severe that his body experienced a catastrophic loss of internal red hydraulic fluid. Before the medical tech support team could even arrive to try and patch the hardware, his system pressure dropped to 0, and his biological mainframe logged off for the final time. He let his curiosity override millions of years of evolutionary self-preservation, and the fan remained the undisputed champion of the warehouse. Well, we made it to the end of the list, and honestly, after reading all of that, I just feel lucky to be sitting here in one piece. We just walked through 13 times people decided to test the terms and conditions of reality, only to find out the hard way that the universe does not have a customer service department. Whether it was treating a toxic vintage thermos like a daily vitamin, trying to out-stubborn a swarm of angry bees, or giving an industrial fan a high five. These 13 moments are the ultimate proof that sometimes our biggest threat isn't the wild outdoors. It's our own brilliant ideas. So, what's the homework for today? Let your engines cool down before refueling. Buy a normal boring heating pad instead of a fireplace brick. And remember that gravity has literally never lost a fight. I really want to hear from you. Which of these 13 system reboots had you pausing the video just to process what you just heard? Drop your favorite or the one that made you cringe the hardest down in the comments. If you enjoyed hanging out and questioning humanity with me today, please hit that like button. And if you haven't joined the family yet, hit subscribe. We are building an awesome community, and I would love to have you on board for the next adventure. Stay safe, think twice before you test physics, and I'll catch you in the next video.